Okay, think for a second about the companies you deal with, maybe every day. When you're shopping online, maybe learning something new on a platform, even just popping into the supermarket. Behind almost everything you do, there's this huge, invisible web. Information systems.
Yeah.
They're basically running the show.
They really are the digital backbone, as you said.
Exactly. So let's kind of dig into that because these tech concepts might sound complicated, but honestly, they're fundamental to how pretty much every successful company works.
That's right. And that's our mission today, really. To dive into information systems IS and, crucially, how they tie into performance management or PM. Understanding this stuff isn't just for the IT crowd anymore.
Not at all.
It's like a shortcut to getting how modern businesses actually tick, how they compete, and how they manage performance.
And it's interesting how that view has shifted, isn't it? IS used to be seen as, well, just making things run a bit smoother. Efficiency.
Efficiency, yeah. Keep the lights on.
But now, it's right at the heart of competitive advantage. How a company handles its information can totally set it apart.
Absolutely. And it's fascinating how these really powerful systems are actually built on concepts we almost take for granted. Maybe we should start right there. The basic building blocks.
Good idea. Connectivity basics, like the internet versus an intranet. People mix those up sometimes. What's the difference there?
Yeah, good place to start. So the internet, that's the big one, right? The massive global network connecting, billions of devices. It uses standard protocols so everything can talk to each other. It's how you're probably listening to us right now.
Right, public domain.
Exactly. Now, an intranet uses the same kind of technology, web pages, browsers, networks, but it's private. It's just for people inside a specific organization. Walled off.
Okay, so controlled access. Got an example people would recognize.
Sure. Think about your university student portal. You log in, right? Username, password. Then you can see your grades, course materials, message boards, maybe submit assignments.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's a classic intranet, a secure internal hub just for the university community. And underbridging both of these is the idea of a network.
So when we say network, what's the simplest definition?
Just interconnected computer systems.
Yeah.
Simple as that. They could be linked by physical cables or, increasingly, wirelessly. The whole point is communication and sharing resources.
Like my home Wi-Fi. The router's plugged into the wall, but my phone connects wirelessly.
Perfect example. The router connects physically to the wider internet, but creates a local wireless network for your devices.
And speaking of wireless, that's just exploded everywhere. We use it constantly.
Oh, absolutely. Nonstop. Your headphones connecting to your phone, Bluetooth, that's wireless. Modern cars, they often have RFID tags, radio frequency ID for tracking parts or maintenance history.
Right.
Shipping companies track packages constantly using various wireless tech. It's not just convenience, it generates this massive flood of real-time data.
Yeah.
Businesses can monitor things, react instantly, optimize on the fly. It's huge for performance.
Okay, so we've got the basics. Internet, networks, wireless, connecting everything. How do these building blocks become the specific tools businesses use for managing performance?
Right. This is where it gets really interesting. Because those basics get built into specialized systems, different tools for different jobs. Maybe start with transaction processing systems, TPS.
TPS. Okay, what are they for? Who uses them?
TPS are really the workhorses. Used by operational staff, people on the front lines. They capture lots of data, very frequently, about day-to-day stuff. Short-term data. It makes things much more accurate and timely.
Like the supermarket checkout again. Scanning groceries, calculating the bill.
Exactly. That's a classic TPS. It records the sale, updates inventory, maybe links to your loyalty card.
Yeah.
But think bigger, too. Some large retailers use what they call geoanalytics software.
Okay.
It tracks the Wi-Fi signals from people's smartphones as they move around the store.
Whoa. So they see where people are going.
Yeah, anonymously, usually. But it tells them about traffic flow, where people linger, how effective displays are. That's TPS data, too, capturing customer movement transactions, if you like.
That's clever and slightly creepy.
Maybe little. Another great example. Think about those fancy coffee machines in places like Starbucks. Many of those are now connected. They send data back, usage patterns when they need maintenance, maybe even popular drink choices in that location. That's TPS data, meeting the cloud, meeting big data, meeting wireless tech, all converging.
Okay, so TPS is about capturing those immediate high-volume details. How does that feed upwards? What about management information systems, MIS.
Right. So MIS is the next level up. It's designed more for managers, helping them make more structured decisions, analyzing performance, controlling the business. It takes the raw data from TPS, summarizes it, and presents it in a more useful way.
So the supermarket manager using the checkout data.
Exactly. They wouldn't look at every single transaction. The MIS would give them reports on, say, total sales per hour, inventory levels needing a reorder, which products are most profitable per square foot of shelf space.
Oh, right. To decide what to stock where.
Precisely. Or even staffing levels, knowing when the busiest periods are based on historical TPS data, summarized by the MIS. It turns data into management insights.
And today's MIS must be pretty dynamic, pulling in lots of different info.
Oh, absolutely. Think about an online store. The sales manager's MIS dashboard might show real-time KPIs, key performance indicators, things like the ratio of site visits to actual purchases.
Okay.
Or sales figures broken down by region or by channel, website versus app versus social media, often with charts and graphs, very visual, so they can spot trends or problems quickly.
Makes sense. Super useful for middle management. But then you have the top bosses, the executives making the big strategic calls. They need something else again, right?
Yeah.
Executive Information Systems, EIS.
That's right. EIS is tailored for senior management. It gives them a very high-level, summarized view of the whole business. The goal is analyzing overall organizational performance, spotting major trends, making those big strategic decisions.
And the key difference is they look outward too, not just internal data.
Exactly. That's crucial. EIS pulls in both internal data, summarized from MIS and TPS, and external information, market trends, competitor actions, economic news, gives them the bigger picture.
I've heard EIS compared to a dashboard, like in a car.
That's a perfect analogy. A car dashboard tells you speed, fuel, engine warnings, the critical stuff you need to drive safely and efficiently. An EIS dashboard does the same for the business.
So our senior supermarket exec, what would their EIS show?
They might see comparisons of profitability across different regions over the last few years. Maybe they're planning expansion. It could pull in headlines about the retail sector, the company's current share price, maybe even a feed of summarized customer sentiment from social media, all highly condensed, highlighting what needs attention.
Okay, so TPS feeds MIS, which feeds EIS. But how do you make sure all the different parts of the business, HR, finance, production, sales, are all working from the same playbook, the same data? That sounds like a nightmare to coordinate.
Well, that's where the big one comes in. Enterprise Resource Planning Systems, ERPS.
ERPS, I've heard of SAP. Is that an example?
The SAP is probably the best known example, yes. And ERPS aims to integrate all those diverse functions you mentioned, HR, sales, manufacturing, supply chain, finance, under one single unified database system.
One database for everything.
Ideally, yes. Think about an airline maybe 20 years ago. They probably had one system for booking passengers, another for accounting, maybe a separate one for HR, another for maintenance scheduling, all potentially separate.
A recipe for errors and delays.
Totally. Now, a company like SAP offers an ERPS specifically for airlines. It integrates everything: fuel management, route profitability analysis, catering orders, plane maintenance schedules, even real-time customer feedback from flights, plus the direct booking systems. It all talks to each other.
Wow, so the benefits must be huge.
Immense. You get much better control, much more powerful data analytics because everything's connected. You can see KPIs from across the entire business on one dashboard. It breaks down those information silos between departments.
And everyone's working off the same up-to-date information.
Exactly. Which makes the business much more agile. If there's a disruption in the supply chain, say, production and sales know about it instantly and can adjust. It also enables more sophisticated things, like modern accounting techniques.
Like activity-based costing.
Precisely. Because you have detailed data from across the enterprise, you can more accurately figure out the true cost of specific activities or products, which helps pinpoint where you're really making or losing money.
Okay, that makes sense. And often within an ERPS, or maybe alongside it, you have systems focused just on the customer, right? CRM?
Yes. Customer Relationship Management Software, CRMS. Sometimes it's a module within a larger ERPS. Sometimes it's a standalone system. Its job is to centralize everything about your customers.
Like contact info, purchase history.
All that, yes. Plus, communication records, sales leads, support requests. It gives the sales and service teams a complete picture of each customer relationship. Boosts productivity, improves communication, helps automate things like marketing campaigns.
And we definitely see the results of CRM as consumers.
Constantly. When a retailer sends you targeted emails based on your past purchases or uses your loyalty card data for specific ads on social media, that's CRMS at work.
Or those recommended for you sections on websites like Amazon.
Absolutely. Classic CRM functionality. It's using your purchase history and browsing data to personalize your experience and, well, encourage you to buy more. It's all about managing that customer relationship effectively. And what's really fascinating here is seeing how these systems layer on top of each other. Data flows from the smallest transaction right up to the biggest strategic view. It paints a complete dynamic picture.
Yeah, it really connects the dots. And you mentioned dashboards earlier as a key output. That seems to be a huge trend now, giving managers that quick visual summary.
Definitely. It's all about getting answers quickly. Just like your car dashboard tells you the essentials, a business dashboard should answer core questions. Are sales up? Is production on schedule? Are customer complaints rising?
And tools exist to build these custom dashboards.
Oh, yes. Things like Microsoft's Power BI, Tableau, others. They let companies pull in all sorts of data, internal stuff like sales figures, external data like market trends, financial numbers, non-financial metrics like customer satisfaction, and visualize it in ways that make sense for their specific needs.
Which brings up a good point. The data itself, internal versus external sources. You mentioned internal is easier to get.
Generally, yes. It's data the company generates itself. Accounting records, production logs, HR files, website analytics, data from call centers. A retailer looking at shopping patterns using their CRM data that's internal. It tells you a lot about your own operations.
But you need the outside view too, especially for strategy.
Absolutely critical. External information is about the wider world the business operates in. It's often harder to get reliable, structured data, but you need it. Think competitor websites, analyzing social media chatter, reports from credit agencies, economic forecasts, news articles.
Like figuring out if there's a new customer group emerging based on online trends.
Exactly, or tracking what competitors are launching. That kind of external insight shapes strategic direction in a way internal data alone just can't.
Okay, so companies are investing in all these systems, TPS, MIS, EIS, maybe a big ERP, CRM. It sounds powerful, but also expensive and complicated. It must be a balancing act.
Oh, it absolutely is. A classic cost-benefit analysis. You have to be sure the value you get from the information, the better decisions, the efficiency gains outweighs the cost of getting it.
So taking that ERP example again, the benefits are clear, better intelligence, smoother processes.
Right, maybe increased productivity, maybe even a lower cost per transaction in accounting because things are automated. Big potential upsides.
But the costs, I imagine implementing something like SAP across a whole company is massive.
It's huge. You've got the software licenses, potentially new hardware, endless hours of configuration and testing. Then there's training staff, migrating data from old systems.
And just the disruption, right? People's jobs change, routines get upended. Resistance to change must be a factor.
A major factor. Implementation isn't just a tech project. It's a huge organizational change management exercise. Plenty of companies have horror stories alongside the success stories. It's a serious undertaking.
Definitely. And that brings up another critical point. With all this data, all this investment, all this connectivity, how do companies protect it all? How do they secure this digital backbone?
Yeah, it's a massive question. You build these powerful interconnected systems, but you absolutely have to protect them. And that's where information system controls come in. There are several layers, starting with the physical stuff.
Physical controls.
Yeah.
Like locks on doors.
Exactly. Preventing someone unauthorized from just walking up to a server or a terminal. So locked server rooms, maybe security guards, requiring ID badges, security cameras in sensitive areas. Basic, but essential.
Okay, so you get past the locked door. What's next?
Then you hit the logical controls. These manage access once you are physically at a machine or logged into the network.
Passwords, access rights. Like only finance people can see the accounting data.
Precisely that. Passwords, multi-factor authentication, user access levels, permissions, defining who can see and do what within the systems.
Makes sense. Then you mentioned administrative controls.
Right. These are more about influencing people's behavior, setting the rules, and making sure people follow them.
So like IT security training for employees.
Yes, that's a big one. Also, having clear procedures for handling data, disciplinary policies for security breaches, making employees sign confidentiality agreements. It's about the human element of security.
Got it. And then there's the software side of protection, antivirus, obviously.
Yep, fundamental. Antivirus software is designed to spot, block, and remove malware viruses, worms, trojans, ransomware, all that nasty stuff. And working alongside it, usually, is a firewall.
Like a digital wall around the network.
Pretty much. A firewall sits between your internal network and the outside internet, controlling what traffic is allowed in or out based on predefined security rules.
Rules about IP addresses or types of connections.
Exactly. IP addresses, port numbers, protocols. It acts as a gatekeeper. And often working with firewalls are things like intrusion detection systems, IDS, or intrusion prevention systems, IPS.
What do?
They actively monitor network traffic, looking for suspicious patterns or known attack signatures. An IDS just alerts you, while an IPS can actually try to block malicious traffic automatically. Extra layers of defense.
Okay. Now, you also mentioned validation earlier. How is that different from security?
Good question. Validation isn't really about security from attack. It's about data accuracy and integrity, making sure the data going into the system is correct and makes sense.
Like when a website form makes you choose a date from a calendar instead of typing gibberish.
Perfect example. Or forcing you to enter an email address in the right format, or not letting you leave required fields blank. It stops bad data getting in, which prevents errors later on. Quality control for data input.
Right. And what if someone does get unauthorized access? How do you protect the data itself?
That's where encryption comes in. Encryption scrambles the data using a key, making it unreadable to anyone who doesn't have the corresponding decryption key.
So, like encrypting the files on your laptop hard drive.
Exactly. Or encrypting data sent over a network. Even if someone intercepts it or steals the laptop, they can't actually read the information without the key. It protects the data even if other controls fail.
Okay. And one last one you mentioned.
Yeah.
Dial-back security. Sounds a bit old school.
It is a bit dated now, mostly from the days of dial-up modems. But the idea was clever. You'd dial into the system, it would verify who you claim to be, then hang up and call you back on a pre-approved trusted phone number associated with your account.
So it proves you were calling from an authorized location, not just someone who stole a password.
Exactly. A neat way to add location verification. Not used much now with the internet, but an interesting historical control. So you see, it's all these layers: physical, logical, administrative, software, encryption working together. That's how organizations try to keep their valuable information safe.
It's really clear, listening to all this, that information systems aren't just, a background support function anymore. They are absolutely central. They're the nervous system of a modern company, driving performance, creating that competitive edge.
Could agree more. Understanding this is becoming non-negotiable, really, in almost any business career.
Definitely. Which kind of leads us perfectly into our final thought for you, the listener, to ponder. We've talked about how IS has evolved, but it's moving faster than ever, isn't it? Big data, AI, machine learning.
The pace of change is incredible.
So here's the question. Given this relentless evolution, how will organizations need to keep adapting their IS strategies and maybe even more importantly, their control systems to actually harness the power of these future technologies while still protecting what might be their most critical asset, their information? Something to think about.